Hi. Hello. My boyfriend is downstairs and I'm so scared he's listening to me right now. I have a hard time just starting the video, and then once I start talking, it all goes well. Like right now I'm better. So hi, for real. Hi. In a loud voice. I do not have to be quiet. Okay. Okay, so I had this idea based off of the INFP guide, which is just making a guide for every function, so all of the 8 functions. And I wanted to start with introverted feeling. So this is the introverted feelers guide. And I wanted to start with this function. Oh, I'm so sorry. Shh! Don't want messages. I wanted to start with that function because, well, it's one of my main functions, and also I feel like it's very misunderstood. That function, I'm gonna repeat myself, but I think it's the perfect word. It's misunderstood. People don't get it, really. This video is for anyone who uses introverted feeling as their first or their second function, but it can also be for anyone who uses it as their third and fourth function and who wants to make it healthier and who wants to see its strength and be conscious about engaging with that function. So really, it's for anyone who has FI in their stack of functions. How do I want to start this mess? I want to start with saying words and then words I associate with introverted feeling and then what I feel it means. So the first word that pops to my mind when I think of introverted feeling is integrity. So once you believe something as an introverted feeler, you won't budge. It's your honor, you know what I mean? Once you decide that that is good or that is bad, it is very hard for you to change, and you won't be swayed from your path, and it's very difficult for others to make you change your mind or not be who you are. And I think that integrity is so cool. It's so strong and powerful, and I like integrity. So that really is the first word that popped up. Then I can think of values, in a sense that introverted feeling is an emotional compass. It's the thing that allows you to make good decisions, and it's the tool that you use to make sure that you'll end up somewhere you actually like and where you're actually happy. Emotional compass, in a sense that once you know your values, I don't know, like family or work or creativity or whatever it is, I don't know. Once you have like a set of values, let's say top 5 or top 10, each time you have to make a big or small decision, you know which values is important to you, like what's your priority, and so then it's easier for you to analyze the decision and make the right one. And I think that without it you get lost. It's really about being self-aware. Introverted feeling is all about what do you stand for, who do you want to be, how do you want to treat other people. It's really about what type of person you want to be surrounded with and what type of person you want to be. So that's what I mean by emotional compass. I really believe that everyone could take away something very important, very profound from introverted feeling because of that. Afterwards, I would say selection. Introverted feeling is a selective function. It won't care about everything. And so it won't care about every problem on earth. It won't care for every every person they meet. That's what I mean by selection. It means that I will choose people I like, I will choose the causes I fight for, I will choose the values that I want, and then the rest I kind of forget about it. And I don't spend a lot of energy on all those things that I don't care about. Whereas many people can sometimes get, I don't know, sidetracked and, oh yes, sure, all right, it's interesting, I'm gonna put some energy on that. Whereas as an introverted feeler, you're already too busy fighting for what you value, and it's very hard for you to sort of integrate other things. And that's what I mean by selection. And also, introverted feeling is dealt inwardly. So your emotions have to be dealt by thinking, being alone, analyzing it all on your lonesome, and then you can talk about it, obviously, but you need to make up your mind first, alone, by yourself. And that means that you can perhaps seem a little bit aloof when you engage with that, detached, cold, whereas it's the opposite. You're so emotional that you're thinking about it. What should I do? And then it can also make you look mysterious. You can seem like you're a very private person and there's something hidden in there and that people want to scratch the surface and go beneath and look at what you have to say. And being mysterious, I think, it makes a person attractive. So let's be happy about introverted feeling. Also, introverted feeling, it's all about becoming who you really are without really thinking about how people want you to be. That's really the main focus of introverted feeling, is to find out what's your difference. And I bet that because of that, we can be very unconventional. Maybe not. That's a stereotype. We won't always be unconventional, but most of the time we are, because we like to focus on what we really desire out of life and how we really want to be and what matters or doesn't matter. And if it doesn't coincide with what is accepted socially, with what is okay, with what is valued socially, you know what I'm talking about, we won't really care as introverted feelers, and that can make us seem unconventional. Now, I have to stop saying so many times. Now, introverted feelings relationship with extroverted thinking. As we know, they always come in a pair. So once you have one, you have the other. It's automatic. Is there a song with automatic in it? I also wrote words that I thought of when I thought of introverted feeling through extroverted thinking, like how it comes out from extroverted thinking, when those two are together. I really think about honesty. We like to be authentic, and I already talked about that with INFPs, but it's also true for ENFPs, ESFPs, ISFPs. We like to be true to ourselves and be very honest and sometimes blunt, and that's good. We need that in the world, right? We need everything else, but we also need that. Okay. It's a focus on systems. We like to look at the outside, rational, logical system, see who it affects negatively, and then be mad about it. Most of the time, we'll feel connected to anyone who does not have the resources or the power to deal with that external system that is rational, logical, and obviously not equal and not fair. Let's say children. Children are so young, they don't comprehend things, so we'll feel sort of attracted to them. Animals. Another thing, they don't really get what the system is and they can get played by it, and we'll feel an affinity with the animals. And then the poor and the sick, and all of that injustice or unfairness, we become very passionate about it because of that relationship of introverted feeling, which is our values and what we believe in, and extrovert thinking, which is exactly like how the world functions, how the system works. For me, it comes in with the economy. I get fiery when I talk about the economy, and I think we all have our little nooks like this. There'll always be something about our system that we'll be really mad about. And then I already said it. There are points I want to say for anyone who uses introverted feeling. Ooh, sorry, camera. Oh, sorry, camera. Are you okay, camera? It freaked out because of my paper. The first point is, as an introverted feeler, and if you use introverted feeling somewhere in your stack, it is so important that you do work and that you surround yourself with people that you actually value. So if for whatever reason there is something that you're really against that is part of your work or part of your surroundings, you're going to be unhappier than if it wasn't there. So you need to look at your values and make sure that you're always sticking to them and being true to those values in everything you do. Not necessarily everything, but yes, I'm sorry, everything. Because you're an introverted feeler, so if you're against something and it's in your life and obviously you'll hate it, it's very important for you to remove that thing that is not what you value, that you are against, to feel happy. So if you're in a job that you don't find fulfilling and everyone is telling you that it is normal, maybe for them, but for you, I promise you it's not. So really don't be afraid to try out new things and find a place where you are happy, where you have meaning. It's extremely important for you. Also, because we are so honest and full of integrity and full of good versus bad, we can become very critical of ourselves. It's important to practice accepting flaws and mistakes. Not just mistakes, also flaws, like the flaws that we have, the ways we'll react to people that won't coincide with values. Let's say at one point you get really mad at your mom, whatever, and you're someone who really values respect and kindness, and then instead of beating yourself up for days, just accept that sometimes it happens. I mean, you're human, and I think that introverted feeling sort of wants to get rid of that humanity and become that perfect human being. C'est quoi, non? La personne. Anyway, just wants to be the good person. But we're humans, and it's important to accept that with other people also, not just with yourself. Accept flaws and mistakes from other people. I mean, no one's perfect. If FI, I'm tired of saying introverted feeling. Okay, if FI is healthy, then you're going to be someone who likes for things. Camera, stop losing the focus. I don't remember where I was. So if you're someone who has a healthy introverted feeling function, you will want things to be fair and just. Fairness and justice will be important for you. I don't know what I wanted to say with that. We can also be a bit rebellious and impulsive. Introverted feeling is not just pretty happy feelings. They can be very dark and mad, those feelings. And because they can be bad and dark, well, you can end up getting mad and doing things that you'll perhaps regret, and doing things that are perceived as more rebellious and unconventional. And I like that. I like that edge that introverted feeling brings. And I think that, I don't know if you like that person, but Amber Heard for me is a role model. I've known her before Johnny Depp, whatever. I just like Amber Heard, and she has that sort of rebellious sort of edge, and I like it. She's an introverted feeler. Yeah, so just watch out for that, but also accept it, that your emotions cannot all be happy and kind and respectful. You'll have negative emotions also, and sometimes you'll act on them. They can be nice fuels and they can be energy, and don't feel bad about that. But the main point that I wanted to say for introverted feelers, we are so caught up in trying to be who we are without anyone interfering, without having any voices or rules or whatever that are not ours in our head and that we implement. We're very focused on that. Sometimes we can end up not being true to ourselves because we don't want to be as everyone else is. It's not a mistake you should do. The goal here as an introverted feeler, it's to be honest and authentic, so who you are, but it's not about being different. Most of the time you end up being different because you're one of the rare people who actually value those things, but it's not the main point. And if you realize that you're someone who shares many things with people, many attributes, traits, likings, be okay with it, be proud of it. It is fun, connect with people, and you can still have differences and you can still be unique, but still like what other people like, or be how certain or the majority is, and that's perfectly fine. So be aware of that. That was my main goal that I wanted to say, because I tried to be different for everything, and I didn't want to I didn't want to connect with anyone because I felt if that person is like me, that I'm not truly me. And I was just like freaking out for a while. I was too focused on being different and finding what was unique and being like this unicorn person. And obviously I will like things that others like. I mean, I love Harry Styles. And before, I would assure you that I would never have said that. A bit like the hipster trend, like, oh, once people like it, I don't like it. That's the trap of introverted feeling that you should not fall into, because then you miss out on very beautiful things. Yay. So, that was my main thingy. And stereotypes of this function. No, we're not always moody. We're not always so sensitive. We're not always caught up in our feelings. We can do other things. And it's not about being emotional. It's about values, and that's a good big difference. Being emotional is just being a drama queen and there's no focus. Whereas having values, we can be very focused and have a lot of integrity, like I said, and integrity is beautiful. And I know that everyone loves integrity, and we have that pretty easily when we listen to ourselves. And also, we're not weak and fragile. That is also another thing. We can feel misunderstood because people don't get who we are, and I mean, it's a complex function, I'm sorry, this introverted feeling thing. And so I think that once we get a hold of that function and we understand it and understand how it plays in ourselves, it's easier to explain who we are to others and then to connect with people and feel a little less misunderstood. That's how I perceive introverted feeling. It's a very independent function. So on that note, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this introverted feeling guide. I was thinking of doing next week extroverted intuition and really doing one video for each function. I mean, if you don't like it, tell me. I'm doing all of this for you right now. Like, I'm holding on to the fact that people like what I'm doing and it motivates me, but that's really my goal. I want you to like what I do because that's why I do it. So yeah, if you don't want to see that, tell me suggestions, comment. I love your comments. You are so nice. You're such nice people. I'm very happy. And yes, see you next week. Thank you so much. Drink water, please be healthy, breathe a lot, and be yourself. And remember that when no one understands you, I do. I understand. So, hope that helps. Bye. Mwah. Bye-bye.